Hello, hi. Happy April Fool's Day. Um, it's me, Dorian, they, them pronouns, and I just got back from seeing the Dungeons and Dragons movie. So I just wanted to unwind some of my thoughts about it. Well, my overall impressions coming out of it was fun. It wasn't like a big, epic, mega must-see 10 out of 10, but it was fun. I enjoyed it. I'd recommend it. But yeah, I'll think about that in a sec. I guess I want to think about what were the previews that I saw. And there were a bunch of Amazon Prime ads that, I don't know if it was before the previews or, whatever, pre-movie stuff. Some of those ads were actually kind of surprisingly touching. One in particular I liked. But anyway, I just was surprised because usually ads don't really leave an impression on me. Anyway, so previews. Oh, there was the new Mission Impossible movie with Tom Cruise, and I don't know if I'm gonna see that or not. I was blown away with Top Gun Maverick, so I'm kind of in the mood to maybe see more of Tom Cruise stuff, but I haven't seen a lot of the Mission Impossibles that he did. I think I only saw the first or second one back in the day. And so I'm not caught up. I wouldn't know who anybody is or what's going on or anything. So I don't know if it would be something that I could come into, or maybe, and it does say part 1 in the trailer too, which also kind of leaves you hanging, and so maybe this would be a good one to come in on. I don't know, if it's a part 1, part 2. Anyway, rambly. I've seen that trailer before for the Mission Impossible a bunch of times, so I didn't have any thoughts on that. And then there was the trailer for the Guardians of the Galaxy 3 movie, and I had been intentionally trying not to see anything about Guardians of the Galaxy 3 because I just want to go in blind. But, I saw the trailer for the first time, when I went to go to see Quantumania, and then this was my second time seeing the trailer, and it's I almost just want to not look at it because I don't want any spoilers, but anyway, it kind of tugs at me because the particular song that they're playing in the trailer for the Guardians of the Galaxy 3 movie is kind of I have some nice memories associated with that song, but it's kind of, Anyway, so that takes me to another place. But so then I'm not thinking about the trailer. But I think it's going to be good. I think it's going to be a real tearjerker, and I think it's going to be a swan song for all of those characters, and to basically also, get all of the old guard out of the MCU, so that it'll all just be all new characters in there. And I'm really done with the MCU, I think, at this point. But hold on. Okay, so my cat, I usually have my closet door closed, but then when he comes down here, he has to open it because he has to know what's behind all the doors, and that would be really obnoxious. I let him open it, but it takes him a while and it's really loud, so I'm I'll just open the door for him. He can walk in there, see there's nothing in there, and then just walk out and be okay. Yeah, my own little displacer kitty wandering around over here. Okay, so where was I? Okay, still just the previews. Yeah, there was the Mission Impossible preview. I'd already seen that. I'm not sure if I'm going to see it, but there's momentum for me to want to see that movie. There's a Guardians of the Galaxy 3 trailer, and the song is, I have memories associated with that. But then, that looks interesting and compelling, and obviously I'm going to see it. I love the Guardians, and I want to see the end to their story and how that concludes. And then that might be, the last MCU movie that I'm interested, or MCU project that I'm interested in for now, just to close those characters out and send them off. But yeah, I think I'll like it, but I don't think I will maybe enjoy it as much as Guardians 1 or 2 when you're, getting into these characters and you would have hoped to see them continue on with happy adventures and happy lives, and then we're right into the seriousness. But anyway, MCU thoughts, brain going off the rails in that direction. Other trailers, a Transformers trailer. I'm like, oh, they're making another Transformers movie. I haven't seen any of them. I didn't really have any desire to see any of them. But for some reason, this trailer got me a little interested because, they're the beasts, and the effects that they did with the Porsche was kind of neat. And I was like, I'm kind of easy to please. I'm a pretty easy to please moviegoer, I think, because sometimes I enjoy movies that, just to turn your brain off, and then it's just fireworks, and you paid to see some fancy fireworks and some shenanigans, and it might be fun, and it might be silly and dumb and whatever. And so I was like, maybe I'll see the Transformers Beast movie just for something chill to do. I don't know the characters, I'm not invested in it, I don't think anything of it, I don't think there will be a plot, it's just a gimmick to sell cool toys, but, it might be fun. I doubt I'll see it, but it might be fun. And then there was a Fast and Furious, I think 10, trailer. I'm, not remotely interested in that at all. I think I watched 1 or 2 of the Fast and Furious movies forever ago, and that's it. So no interest in that. It has Brie Larson in it. It has, I'm sure there's some cool stunts. But, yeah, anyway. Then, I don't know, what else was there for previews? That might be all that I can remember offhand, I think. I guess the only ones that made impact with me then. I'm sure there were a couple others. Okay. Oh, yeah. Lord of the Rings 20th anniversary already. Yeah, I guess, I really can't, I know I'm forgetting them, but I can't think of them now. So, okay, D&D movie, I guess, non-spoiler thoughts first of just overall impressions and thoughts. It's kind of, flaky in an enjoyable way, kind of like Guardians of the Galaxy Light, and I really enjoyed seeing Hugh Grant ham it up, and it was enjoyable, it was fun, it was kind of hokey, and it felt quick, it felt like it went quick, like it felt like a 90-minute movie when I had to realize, oh wait, that was maybe 2.5 hours, but it went by quick, and it almost felt too short, but in a good way, leaving me wanting more, oh wait, I could be down for, a sequel, or, if this is to become a franchise or something, because they just barely set up the world or whatever, and, so it was interesting, it was fun, kind of light and fluffy. I don't know if I can really think about it without doing spoilers or restricting myself by that. Okay, so whatever, spoilers. Overall thoughts and things. Usually I see Hugh Grant doing, his traditional rom-com roles, and every time I've seen him do kind of he tries to do a more serious role, it doesn't really fit. I remember he was the bad guy in a movie, was it the Bridget Jones Diary or something, and I'm it wasn't really working for me, and maybe he was trying to get out of being typecast, but here I thought this was a good role for him, where he could kind of be, it's spoiler, he could kind of be the bad guy, but also his usual upbeat self. Like, I don't think Hugh Grant would do well playing, like, a hardcore villain, like, like a serious, terrifying villain. That's not his style. But this particular character, you could make the argument that this character was not really all that evil, just self-serving, and he could play it in a fun, lighthearted way, in a really campy, villain kind of way, and it was really fun, and that was kind of a highlight, was seeing him ham it up. And I was thinking, his character's not really that evil. You could plausibly see that he actually might have fallen for the developed genuine feelings for the daughter, and that he was just greedy. He plays it in such a way that you don't really get the sense that he's truly evil. But I would have liked if, again, this is the full spoilers and everything. I would have liked at the end, though, if he actually was more of a kind of gray area character, if he had not held the knife to Kira's throat, because then that's the turn of, like, okay, we have to hate this guy, he's more villainesque. But you could spin it in a way that he actually cared for her, and he thought he could be a better dad to her than her actual dad, if you had played it more in that direction. And he was, he didn't hold the knife to her, he was trying to protect her the whole way through. Anyway, so Hugh Grant hamming it up was fun. I guess I was a little disappointed to see that the main character, Ed, didn't actually do any kind of bard things, being in D&D, like casting any bard spells or anything of that nature. He really is, I thought that might have been a twist, where in the trailer they show the scene where he says, he doesn't really have any skills, and then you see in the movie him doing, like, bard spells or something. But no, he never had any perceivable skills the entire movie. Just his pluckiness. He didn't physically fight, he didn't swing weapons, he didn't cast spells, he didn't really do anything except there was an illusion of himself, but someone else cast that illusion. So really, just in terms of, like, he didn't feel like a bard. He was just a guy holding a lute, in terms of, like, anyway. But he was interesting, though. He was an interesting character. It was interesting to see, like, a protagonist that really does feel like just an everyday man kind of thing, with no, special skills of any kind. And yet, he's the de facto leader of the group. So, I suspect, because, societal pressure to have a, white male lead or whatever, because he did feel more of, like, a sidekick character. Like, why not just completely have, Holga's character be the protagonist. But to be fair, Ed's character, his backstory was the driver of the main plot here. So who knows? It might be interesting if, like, in a sequel or something, like, each movie, a different character becomes the protagonist. Like, if the next one is all Holga driven and the next one is Simon driven. But I really don't think so. I don't get that vibe. This did not feel like it was setting up for this to be, okay, this is Ed's movie and then. No, because they address everybody's backstory in here and kind of sort of resolve all their arcs. It's just that Ed is the central one. He is the main character. So I guess I'm just saying, I think it would have been more interesting if the Ed character was more of a side character, and maybe either make Holga more front and center, or Simon, or something. But I don't know, that's waffling or whatever. Okay, so yeah, he was fine. He was plucky, and there were a few jokes of his that were, that landed with me, that I chuckled. One thing though that just kept personally bothering me the whole time, not in a bad way, it's just something I just kept noticing. His lute, or it didn't have the traditional head that they would normally have, that's kind of like folded back, or like rectangular, or his fantasy instrument that he carries had more of a like violin scroll on it, and so I mean, you cobble together different parts, it makes it more fantastical. This is an instrument that's distinct from ours, but it just kept bugging my brain the whole time to see like essentially a violin or a viola scroll on the lute instead of the lute's like head that I'm used to seeing, or one of several like kind of headstock configurations that, anyway. And so I just kept staring at the scroll way too many times in the movie. Okay, and then Holga's character, I don't know why I was thinking that she would be more lesbian character, but all the characters were heterosexual. Neither here nor there. I just was getting more vibes that way, and no, she wasn't. But then they did make a joke about the couple's joke, like everybody has a type, like she likes short men, and then he has a type. So that was kind of funny to see the ex walk in the room and that whole interaction, and I thought that was a interesting interaction, and her ex was perfectly pleasant, and I like how they played all that. No one was really the bad guy and everything, and there was some humor there, and Simon was really empathetic. I really liked that concept of having, kind of a inept wizard. And though it was more like he always had it in him, just he was in his own way, and they had a clever little arc for his character there, and that was nice, and I liked that. And resolving his arc there, but I almost kind of thought it would be more interesting if no, he's just bumbling, like he's just not that talented, but you could make that work. You could work with it, like you find out how to make your hiccuping spells actually into a skill set, and turn that on its head. I think I would have been into that. But no, I liked Simon. I liked his progression. I liked his character. Kind of withdrawn. And then I felt like we didn't get as much. I didn't feel as drawn into Doric. She's definitely, I guess, as the kids these say, OP. She's definitely... She could just single-handedly do the whole movie, but they had some really, really clever things with the shape-shifting that was probably some of the best stuff, at least for me, in the movie. But like as for her character, like her backstory, like her motivations, like I get it, and she's kind of gone from found family to, maybe revolutionary, but it just felt hollow, or like not really developed, like barely there, and she's kind of a more shut off character, like less warm, and at the end, kind of shoehorning in like this romance thing between her and Simon, like I'd rather just they learn that they're not into each other. You don't have to have that angle, because you didn't really see much interaction between Simon and her, like them getting to know each other, like, glancing at each other or anything like that. It didn't feel like that was, so it came out of nowhere that, but then that very, very last second in the movie where she kind of like accepts his cup or something like that, you almost saw that, oh, maybe she likes him back too, but it was barely there, so I don't know. I guess I would have wanted to see more of her backstory. But again, these could be characters that could be more developed later. But also, maybe this isn't the type of movie that you would have really deep development either. Like, this is definitely, like, popcorn flick. It's sort of like Thor Ragnarok, but light. Like, very light. Like, it's meant to be campy. And it kind of reminded me of, like, sort of the good campy's 90s type movies where it's like, you know this is silly, but, you know, you just enjoy it, you just have fun, and, you know, the characters are kind of one-dimensional and stuff. But, you know, I did feel like there's nods to all, like, a lot of D&D tropes and things like that. It was fun, it was really fun. Like, some highlights of the movie, you know, because, again, complete spoilers, so my just favorite parts of the movie, the opening scene with Doric doing her shape-shifting, like, that was one of the best things where they do some really, really clever stuff with the shape-shifting, and it, like, you know, makes me want to play a druid and just do nothing but shape-shifting, and how the shape-shifting was done was, like, really clever all throughout the movie, and just, like, really clever ways of doing combat, like, you know, you can always see, you know, punching and sword fighting and, like, there's, you know, shooting magic laser beams at things, you know, but what I like when things can be more clever, like, say, in some of the, you know, maybe Tobey Maguire and even Andrew Garfield, you know, Spider-Man movies of how Spider-Man can use the web to move around and fight in, like, fighting in a completely new kind of way, completely different ways of combat or whatever. So yeah, the shape shifting that was really interesting, and, like, again, how Simon did some of his tricks and things were interesting. Yeah, it was fun. It was really fun, and, like, the nods to D&D, like having the displacer kitty, the displacer beast. Like, as soon as I saw the little, like, things come up, I knew what it was, and I'm like, oh, and then it looked kind of a lot like I would imagine it would look. Except in one personal D&D group I was in, one of our people in our party was allowed to have her own, like, displacer beast kitten, and then so it was just, like, this cute little kitty mini displacer beast, and so that's kind of my imagery. I was like, displacer kitty, so I was hoping that it'd be like a little cub, like, Black Panther thing, but that was fine. It was totally cute, and the cube was neat, and, like, it was just really fun. I had a fun time. You know, I might see it again. I think I'd recommend it to people. It felt camp, like, optimal camp. I mean, you know, you could always dream of, like, what is the other version of this movie in my head that would make it even better, that I'd like to see that doesn't exist. That's always going to be better in your imagination of, like, well, if they did this and if they did this. It was perfectly fine. I mean, like, the twist at the end, you know, with Olga dying and then, you know, Ed realizing that he actually has to use this not for him, but for his daughter. You know, I mean, it's hokey, and we saw that coming, like, maybe, you know, a mile away, and you know he's instantly gonna use it on her, and, like, you know, all that stuff. But they didn't dwell on it too long, you know, so it was fine. It's like, you know, it was fine. But it's just, her suddenly dying was just, like, that sharp tone, even though you kind of felt that it was gonna go there. That was a break from all the rest of the tone of the thing. But it was fine. You know, I liked the kind of unique relationship where they didn't make Olga and Ed together in a romantic item. I liked that they could be platonic, but also acknowledge that they co-parented the child together. I mean, that was nice to show that, and show that dynamic. And you felt the bond more between, you know, Olga and Kira was nice. Yeah, a lot of the twists, like with the invisibility thing, that was nice. Yeah, I'd say thoroughly enjoyable. Like the scene with the bird in the beginning, like just the intro, just with him telling the backstory. yeah, the more I think about it, the higher my rating's going. I'm like, oh wait, and I liked that part. Oh wait, and I liked that part. I'm like, damn, this was a really fun movie, and I'm in a good mood, and I liked it, and I enjoyed it. So I guess, like, final thoughts and thingy things. The shape-shifting was the coolest part for me. I probably would have wanted maybe a little less of Ed and a lot more of, like, Simon, and getting to know Doric even, and, flushing the others out more. And any attempt to make characters more three-dimensional is always a plus in my book, even if that's not what you're going for. And, I'm intrigued to maybe see these guys again or see other characters in this world, and I hope that it keeps, it's just fun. I don't want to think about other things that aren't the movie. Yeah, it was an enjoyable time. Oh, there is another character, what's his name, Zank character, the, like, good paladin, by, Reggie Jean Page, and yeah, kind of exactly what you would imagine a paladin, like, good to be, just perfectly good, and kind of a little bit with the I take things completely literally in an almost neurodivergent, but almost like Spock kind of way vibe. I didn't think that those kind of I take things literally thing landed as funny as, say, when they did it with Drax, which I think this movie was, like, kind of, largely borrowed off of, tropes and things from the MCU. Even down, like, the owlbear hitting the sorcerer at the end, I'm like, wait, you are kind of copying from Avengers. I did feel that, but they made it a little bit their own, I think, whereas in the Avengers with the smash is more like back and forth like that, whereas this one was more like this. So it was a kind of a different movement in the same vein that, yeah, and the audience all laughed with that too, especially when the owlbear, like, goes back and does it faster. So that was funny. Yeah, no, it was good. It was surprisingly clever at times in ways that it did, like, I think, I don't know, choreography, and stuff. I don't know. Yeah, so the Zenk character was fine. I am kind of glad that he wasn't, like, added to the group, because he's too, he's more of a leader. He's not on their level. If they're level 1, he's level 20 or something, and he would just be Deus Ex Machina and everything. And I like that he was just there to kind of, like, be their tour guide for that one spot, or he could be their consultant or something like that. And also, yeah, I liked that he was only there in a limited kind of way, because his character did seem kind of blank too, like there's kind of wooden almost. Like, this is good for, like, kind of a short laugh, but not where you're gonna go with this character. This is more of a side character. And the other thing is, I think that this movie, it's really quick. It moves through things really quickly. So, like, I thought they were going to spend the whole movie on a MacGuffin chase. But no, they get the MacGuffin, like, right away. And, like, some of the things I liked was that they didn't put the best scenes in the trailer, and the trailer didn't spoil anything for me. Like, the scenes you see in the trailer with, like, Hugh Grant being evil and the druid turning into an owlbear, they get that out of the way right away. That's in the kind of like in the beginning of the movie. So it's not like, I'm glad they didn't save the Hugh Grant twist to the end, or like save the owlbear transformation to a climactic moment. Like, they got the scenes in the trailer over with in the beginning of the movie, and then they moved on. I'm like, that's great. Like, that's how trailers should be, and not give you the whole plot of the movie and spoil things, and like the Guardians trailers, like, giving you way too much any information. But yeah, and I liked that, like, they saved things for the movie and didn't put all the climactic things in the trailer. And then you get I guess people were calling it the chonk dragon, the big, girthy, hefty dragon. And what I liked about that was, again, we've seen dragons a million times. We've seen, them flying or breathing fire or whatever. So this was just a different take. Like, instead of breathing fire at them, at one point, the dragon, tries to roll over on them. And I thought that was great. It was inventive, I think, in that way. So, yeah, I think the movie is playfully inventive. It's not deep. It's not complex. These are not characters that I think could, you're not going to delve too deep with them. It's a very kind of one-dimensional, campy thing. But it was fun. It was very enjoyable. So, yeah, I'm just repeating myself and rambling. So, I don't know if any of these thoughts are really linear in any way, but I just wanted to get my first impressions out there, and yeah, they're pretty positive. So yeah, I would recommend the Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves movie. It's hokey, what's coming, a mile ahead of time, all the basic plot points, but, just the way they film the scenes is kind of, clever, and, it knows it's camp kind of thing. So yeah, it was fun. Okay, I guess that's it.